12-year-old. He said it with such conviction that instantaneously I believed it. He looked me steely in the eyes and said, this is going to happen. And so here I had this player who had just shot 63 and won a tournament by 18 shots, and I said, Jordan, what I don't have is I don't have an understanding of what the skill set you have, or the skill set you possess, that organizes itself in being able to shoot 63 versus the scoring average of 76 that we see on the screen right here. So I asked him for some insight, and this is what he said to me. He said, I'm a strong ball striker. I regularly hit 12 to 14 fairways per round. 12 to 15 greens is not out of the question. In fact, that's pretty much average for me. He said, I'm a streaky putter. Sometimes I'm really hot and sometimes I run cold, and I don't think there's a better player with a wedge in their hand, which maybe last weekend was a testament to that. I said, that's fantastic, and so what I do is I then went into my own self-assessment, right? So I pulled out 2D, let me show you the video here in just a second. And I've got TrackMan running, he's hitting his 7 iron about 140 yards in the air, and his driver about 220, rolling out to about 240 or 250. And so for a 12 or 13-year-old, those that work with that caliber of play, that's some pretty good speed for a relatively small frame guy. So he has this scoring ability that he's just demonstrated. He has this confidence, this error value that I have control of my ball largely to shoot these types of scores. And this is what he's showing me in form. Now I'll jump back and forth just so it resets and plays, just so we can get a good look at it. Last time we'll go face on. So at the same time I'm running TrackMan. Previous to this, I'd run a SAM report on him. And it took me about 5 minutes to recognize that this isn't normal. This is not necessarily what I would expect to see of a player that says, I've got control of my ball. And so at that point I stopped what I was doing and said, we're going to go to the golf course. We didn't do any short game skills testing. I wanted to shelve that and take it out. And so we went to the back 9 of Brook Hollow. We played the back tees. And for the first 6 holes he's even par. He's hit every fairway and every green. He's made 1 bogey and 1 birdie. And so I'm certainly seeing a representation of a player that's showing up, expressing the quality of skills that they have with full belief in them. But what I'm not seeing at that point is that complementary skill set, right? That complementary skill set that a player needs to be able to rely on when they're not playing their best in short game. So I said, Jordan, on the last 3 holes here, I'm going to drop down 3 up.
I love the Facebook questions that we get, path or face. How can you pick just one? How can you say, I'm going to fix the face every single time? I just don't get that. And I used to do that, actually. In my younger days, I helped a ton of people. Guys hitting slices, crank that grip over, shove that club face as much as I could at the top. Created a lot of low duck hooks. All right, so helped a lot of people because obviously it's going to maybe create a more rightward path, but I encourage you to look a little closer, right? So pay attention to the start direction. As we know, the face is going to be aligned to where the ball is going to start. So if I got that ball starting straight and it's curving too much to the right, I may not necessarily go right for the face. All right? I may try to change the path a little bit. Typically, though, I'm trying to change both. It's mostly a blend. All right? So the cool thing about TrackMan is you can click on club path on the left, or you can click on club face on the left. You get every single shot. All right, so I'm looking at the ball pattern, and I'm also looking at what's the most volatile number that I need to change. You got a guy that's swinging, 2 degrees to the right, consistently, right in that number, and you got the face 2 to 3 or 4 degrees to the right. He's hitting pushes all day. That's easy. We're gonna fix the face. But you got a guy that's all over the place with the path, and the ball launch is relatively straight, then I'm going to probably fix the path. So it's always a judgment call, but I would say usually I'm fixing a little bit of both. I'm making a grip change, or I'm making a takeaway, club face change at the top, as I'm trying to get them to swing in a different direction, which is usually more of a right. So again, the fix may be a little bit of a blend. I always love Manuel Del Torre. Be careful, the student might actually do what you want them to do and overdo it. Right? We have slow changers and quick changers. Some people, you'll know that pretty quick. As soon as you start giving them, whether you're manipulating the club or what, is they're going to change quickly or they're going to be a little bit tougher.
3D flat spot. Right. First person I heard talk about this was Brian Manzella again, a few years ago. He was talking flat spot in full swing. More recently it's been taken forwards a little bit, maybe by Chris, Como, Andrew Rice a little bit, and then Jim McLean, of course, managed to reel out an article from 25 years ago who said the same thing. I don't know if Photoshops these things, because no one can improve it. But anyway, he's good at that, and to be fair to him, it looks like getting an article and good, yeah, it can happen. Thinking about the whole modelling thing, so the gears and how everything fits together, which style do you think is more geared towards being able to create a flat spot and why? Let's be thinking house on just for a minute. Which player out of Sergio and Steve Stricker is going to be able to create a flat spot? Most easily. Stricker. Why is that? And we're talking three-dimensional. I'm not just talking camera down here from view, it's quite level to the ground. I'm talking view from above. The club head trajectory is straight. Flat spot, by the way, a 3D flat spot is really not just level to the ground. It's a straight direction or trajectory pointing somewhere. It doesn't have to be level to the ground. It could be down and out, it could be down and straight down, it could be up. It could be any of those. Okay, but why would Stricker be able to do it more easily than Sergio could do it?
Backing up. Path is more outward.
That's more outward, backing up. Yeah. Swing plays a little vertical. It's going to help. If you view them both from above, so if you had a camera stuck on the ceiling, you're looking down at Sergio and Stricker. From above, you've got Stricker, Sergio with his really late release point. The arm is in. Lots of turning in the lead arm.
So this is a lot more in the center. So this center of mass actually is going more through the center of the shaft, or center of the head, than Guru's. Which would mean his is going to have a little bit more, his sweet spot's a little more towards the heel. Okay? Which actually means if you hit the ball more in the center, you might even have a little bit of gear effect and a little bit of tilt on the ball left. Stuff you can't really measure with sand, you probably could do better with Quintic, where you could actually measure the golf ball and you're not really guessing based on how the putter's moving. That's another topic. Okay? So something simple, you can just take their equipment, you can hang it, same with an iron. You can look at the iron, you can just kind of hang it, you can get an idea. Does that person maybe need a little bit more of a closing effect or not? Okay, you saw that right? Okay. Is the student's equipment helping or hurting their game? It's up to you as an instructor. You watch them swing, or are they moving that club the way that they need to, or the way that you'd like them to, so that it helps their swing and their patterns, right? It doesn't really.
Now this doesn't tell anyone if they read it right. This only tells them if the ball started in the right place or not. It doesn't tell them if their stroke was good or bad. It's simply measuring the skills that matter. Did the ball start in the right place? And did it go the speed that you intended it to go? Does anybody have any questions on this? When you see it outside, it'll maybe look a little different or a little bit more easy to steal and take home. A good friend of mine, his name is Jason Helmy, he lives up in Canada. And he has this phrase for these types of environments where the goal is to swipe and deploy. That's really what we're here for. Take whatever thing we can here, apply it to what we have back home. That's what we all try to do. Is take the best stuff from somebody and bring it back home. So when we do this outside, again, I highly encourage you to swipe and deploy.
Where does the bottom line come from that you had on the previous one?
Okay, let me go back in house. So this one here?
Yes.
Okay.
Those lines on the
Right, so
bottom.
let me explain. So I'll use this one as an example because it's far down. If you picture this pot, the trajectory of it, if the hole wasn't there, it would continue to drop and finish about a foot below the hole or so like that. This is the pot that started in the exact same place, but the person that hit it far enough still fell on that same line that would have gone through the hole at a foot by if they started it in the right place. This graphic just doesn't have the rest of the trajectory of the putt. So when you've got a putt that's got a long break or a big break, this line drops farther and farther down. Here's one that's only a shallow slope, it's like almost left edge. The sharper the ball's coming into the hole, and the more speed you have, like a 3-footer might finish down here somewhere. That intention in that line would be in a completely different place. So this line is completely dependent upon their speed intention, what speed they wanted it to go. If they wanted to hit it hard, it would be different. If they wanted to dive in, it would be a straight line.
We don't have to show this one. This is okay. Basically, it's the same thing. So, opportunities to educate your parents. Not your parent, well, your parents.
Yeah.
Okay? Parent-teacher meetings, one-on-ones. Cameron was talking about, he sits down and talks with the parents about it, as well as the kids. General meetings. And very much like what I'm doing right now, this could be a parent meeting, educating the parents on this. Positive Coaching Alliance. I'm going to put up a video of I'm going to show one of their videos. It's a short video so you can get an idea, a feel of what they offer. They have a huge amount of resources for you to present to parents. You can put it up on a PowerPoint just like this is. So I would look into that. CuriousCoaches.com from Corey Lundberg, Matt Wilson. Not only for dealing with your juniors and dealing with issues like this, but also in general, coaching. All right, somebody please tell them that I plugged them. Has anybody heard of the Matheny Manifesto? This is something that came out recently. Mike Matheny is the manager of the St. Louis Cardinals, and apparently he's very involved in coaching youth, or he was. And there's a little bit of controversy over this. I have a copy of this book, and I'm going to read it when I get a chance. And the controversy is the quote that he made was, "The only way I would teach kids is if they were all orphans." Because of the dealings he's had with parents, Little League. And he relays the story of going to one of these youth clinics with a couple of other major league players. And not like mine, like back of the bench, some well-known players. Some of them retired, some of them still active. So they were talking about coaching kids, so obviously all